at a moderate 20 miles per hour to the southeast. Remember this number for later. To the southeast of the storm, a tornado touring group called Tempest Tours, with multiple visitors, are watching the tornado. Mesmeron is less than 3 minutes from them, themselves to the south of the tornado. This is because, again, the tornado should be moving to the northeast, but because of the sudden southeast motion, they find themselves scrambling to get out of the way of the powerful circulation. Due to the hundreds of chasers, mobility, Brett Wright and Brandon Sullivan are watching the tornado. Only three, they decide the smartest possible thing to do would be to drive south, but this is a freak tornado, and the decision would place them in a deadly situation. It's less direct than usual. The wet roads and gusting winds mean their car is limited to max 40 miles per hour, a speed which is not at all fast enough to escape the massive, growing wind field. As the strongest inflow winds feeding into the tornado strike them, a nearby farmhouse is torn apart, escaping the tornado by less than 40 seconds. At the same moment, exactly 1 mile north of Wright and Sullivan, the Twistex group is turning east onto Reno Road. Right now, the team is trying to get in the path of the intensifying tornado by paralleling the tornado from the north. Their hope is to outrace it, allowing them to drive south ahead of it. As they follow the tornado, they no longer vortices are now, would be by actually looking inside the storm, which is precisely what the crew in control of a mobile radar truck are doing. What they observe is very rare. For most normal tornadoes, the rotating core of the storm will exact its power into a single point. But here, the mesocyclone is so powerful, multiple distinct rotations are forming within the circulation. The wind speeder are also following the tornado. Storm chaser Ray Bohack is filming from within one of the team's 3 storm chasing vehicles. Dominator 1, he captures the monster in front of them. Another vortex forms over the El Reno airport. This vortex sweeps just behind the team, when suddenly another vortex forms further to the southwest side of the wedge. Within the storm, there are now 3 or more visible vortices. Radar truck crew observes how the formation of these new tornadoes causes some crazy, unpredictable behavior. Here, the main wedge is pulled north by the forming vortex, lunging towards Reno Road, towards the Twistex crew. Inside Twistex's vehicle, Paul Samaras has a video camera and is capturing the encounter. While the footage they recorded is lost, the dialogue of the 3 crew members has been transcribed. Carl Young urges Tim to continue east to get ahead of the tornado. We get past realizes something's wrong. We've got debris in the air. That's the problem. As the wedge curves towards them, the outer bands begin to impact them, pelting the car with debris. We've got to turn to the north. That's good. We're gonna follow it around to the north and get out of here. They turn north onto Reformatory Road, battling 70-mile-per-hour winds feeding into the tornado. While this is happening, a civilian named Richard Henderson is also on Reno Road, just ahead of Twistex. He had watched the tornado touch down 10 minutes prior, where he had snapped an image of the forming tornado on his cell phone to send to a friend. Before he made a phone call, Henderson says, "I'm having fun. I'm riding around chasing storms." Henderson's friend expressed concern. "You better stop doing that." But Henderson kept chasing, continuing east on Reno Road. When the tornado made its lunge north, Henderson kept pushing eastwards. The friend recalls hearing popping noises as debris hit Henderson's car. Soon, the call went dead. If the wedge keeps going north, both Twistex and Henderson won't just be hit by debris, but be directly struck by the violent tornado. In some miracle, the wedge decides to make a complete loop and begins to head south again. This sudden loop allowed Twistex to escape north, where they can turn west onto 10th Street to make another attempt at safely intercepting the tornado. The dark mass now deviates slightly to the east, and with this change in path, a change in speed. The tornado is no longer moving at the reasonable 20 miles per hour from the beginning of its life. Now, it's racing eastwards at more than 50 miles per hour. Any chaser east of the tornado now suddenly finds themselves escaping a deadly situation. There is a huge issue though. There are now potentially hundreds of chasers clogging the wet dirt roads, making it practically impossible to get out of the way. One chaser who finds himself stuck in the chaser traffic jam is Skip Talbot. He's in a group of chasers watching the storm approach from the intersection of 15th and Country Club Road. Up until now, dust has obscured the tornado from sight, except when lightning strikes briefly, illuminating the approaching circulation from behind. But even as the tornado closes, the heavy rain hides the chaotic Ferris wheel of vortices from sight. The group stays, waiting to gain a visual on the tornado. After all, the tornado is still about 2 miles away, but gradually, Talbot notices something unusual. He watches as they're whilst heading towards the nearby town of Yukon. O'Neill follows them in a last-ditch attempt to get out of the tornado's path. It's too late though. Power lines are brought down onto Bridges' truck, trapping both cars as the tornado overtakes them. Bonilla recalls, all the windows blew out. We started rolling. It was like slow motion, both cars coming from Bridges' pickup. He runs over to find Bridges hanging out at the door by his seatbelt. Mindeman is sat with a crushed leg, unable to help him. Bonilla rushes back to O'Neill to get help, but when he arrives, he realizes O'Neill has passed away. Bonilla grabs a piece of broken glass to cut Bridges free from his seatbelt. Paramedics soon descend on the scene, but when they arrive, Bridges has gone unresponsive. He and O'Neill are pronounced dead at the scene, the first deaths attributed to the tornado. 1 mile north on Reno Road, there is another line of chasers fleeing eastwards. The last person in this traffic is the previously mentioned Richard Henderson. Henderson was able to make ground on the tornado when it looped behind him, but now it's closing on him again. The crowd of vehicles now converge on Highway 81, a major road running north to south. Here, many chasers make a life or death decision: continue east and hope they can outrun the tornado on the dirt roads, or turn south onto Highway 81 and hope they can outrun the tornado before it hits them. Skip Talbot and Richard Henderson make the decision to continue fleeing east. At the same time, half a mile north of Henderson, a group of chasers from the Weather Channel are about to make a different decision. A decision that may be the biggest mistake of their lives. The Weather Channel team is made up of 3 vehicles. The lead vehicle is driven by Kevin Parrish, which is then followed by a vehicle named the Bettsmobile because it is operated by Mike Betts, a Weather Channel reporter. Betts' producer, Austin Anderson, and a cameraman named Brad Reynolds also accompany him. The convoy stops just north of Reno Road so Betts can make a live broadcast as the tornado approaches from the southwest. All right, it's an appealing option. Sadly, once again, illusions hide the danger they're about to put themselves in. You see, the tornado is so large, it seems like it's barely moving yet again. But again, when a tornado doesn't appear to be moving, usually it's moving towards you. This illusion likely makes the team believe they are directly in the path, prompting the Weather Channel convoy to head south rather than stay put. The truth is, the tornado is now racing due east at 55 miles per hour. But it's not just moving at 55 miles per hour, because as well as this, the tornado's size is expanding faster now than any tornado in history. In less than 60 seconds, the wind field expands from 1 mile to 2 miles in width. This means the tornado is literally expanding towards Highway 81 at 30 miles per hour. Combining these values, the tornado's forward speed is coming directly at them at over 80 miles per hour. As the convoy begins to drive south, they quickly realize their mistake. The rain begins 70 miles per hour, but still, the tornado is outpacing them. Parrish watches as dozens of vortices sweep towards them. It's now less than 300 yards away. Winds into the storm suddenly spike to more than 120 miles per hour, lifting and slamming his car into the central divider before sucking it into the roadside ditch. Behind him, Betts is filming. Of chasers on Reno Road. Their tour group is about 30 seconds ahead of Henderson, but instead of continuing east like Henderson, they turn north. 50 seconds later, they approach the intersection of Highway 81 and a road named Reuter Road. At this exact same time, the TwistX crew is now approaching Highway 81. Neither TwistX nor Henderson are aware of the incredible speeds at which the tornado has expanded eastwards. Tim says, "We're probably going to have to cross 81 if this road is good, and then try and drop down if we got some viable roads." They pull up behind a Toyota Yaris. The driver is storm chaser Dan Robinson. Robinson has a rear dash cam rolling, filming TwistX right behind him. Robinson looks south and also sees the tornado crossing the highway. This convinces him to continue east onto Reuter Road. TwistX decides the same. Randy Walton records Robinson's Yaris, also decides to turn onto Reuter behind them.
Right on 81.
To do something that no chaser was expecting. It begins to move north. The heavy rain is not only slowing down the line of chasers in front of him, but it's also completely obscuring him to react to what's happening as the tornado roars just behind him east of the intersection of Alphaville and Reno roads. His car is lifted and flung off off the side of the road. He disappears into the darkness. Emily Sutton, a chaser just ahead of Robinson, films the core is impossible. They can only assume it's continuing eastwards. This thing is moving 40 miles an hour, 30 to 40 miles an hour to the east. Tim is likely guessing here, as the tornado is much closer and moving much faster. As the rain begins to clear, it's hard to discern what exactly is to their south. No, I see it. Well, maybe I don't. Tim looks up the road. Dan Robinson's car is just ahead, and rain bands begin to sweep towards the road. Bad spot. These are the last words that we verifiably have of the Twist X crew before the camera recording cuts off. It had used all of its storage, but at this point, the tornado is 90 seconds away. Robinson's rear dashcam continues to capture the white Chevy Cobalt. He also begins to realize what's happening. What is that? What is that? T. Randolph is nearby and is listening to her radio when she hears a disturbing shout. We're going to die. We're going to die. The transmission went dead immediately afterwards. It is believed that this transmission was from the Twist X vehicle as the main circulation overtook their car. By the time Robinson pulls clear of the tornado, it has grown to its full width, an incredible 2.6 miles wide. The rain has fully cleared, broken numerous records.